So it seems that I'm live. So very good evening from Vienna to everyone who's watching tonight. Subject of what I want to discuss with you tonight definitively is that what happened last week and already a week before with Watches and Wonders. That was cancelled due to, everybody knows, that famous little Corona we now fear instead of drinking it. Then some days later, the decision from Baselworld came and was also cancelled. It took them a little bit longer because, as you all for sure know or might not know, I'm not so sure. I just pull this. Hello, okay. So very good. I have a lot of people already online. That's great. So what I wanted to say is Baselworld, the cancellation of Baselworld took a little bit longer since it is a public show, and it's a public show, and when the public is involved, there is the Swiss government involved. In this case, it was the Bundesamt für Gesundheit, the ministry that is responsible for public health, and yeah, they took the decision to cancel Baselworld after they also took the decision to cancel the Geneva Automobile Salon, or Le Salon de l'Auto as they call it in French. So they were all cancelled, and this was the information ahead. I hope you understand that it was easier for Watches and Wonders to cancel, since Watches and Wonders is a private saloon. It's not public. It is organized and majority owned by Richemont. And Richemont, well, they can do what they want, so they are free to cancel such a show or not, and they did. So now I see the questions coming in, and let me run through them, and please do me a favor, everybody, tonight. Let's really focus and concentrate on the shows, Baselworld, Watches and Wonders. I would very much look forward to get some feedback from you out there, how you feel about the cancellation, and also, and this is something I would like to discuss openly with you tonight, is how can we, or what could we do as Watch Advisor, or what could the brands do to bring you those novelties as close as possible so you could follow up, and what are your expectations, of course. So, and if you have any good idea, please, there is that comment section, and please use your use everything you can use to type, either it is your cell phone, your a tablet, or whatever device it is you're watching me now. Use it, and please type and throw in your questions and your remarks, of course. Okay, let me jump right into those questions. And once again, please, for all who have joined, let's please stay on the subject of cancellations, the cancellation of the two big major shows, watch and jewelry shows this year. Okay, then, first of all, good evening to everyone who is here. David B, DGB, Neo, BS, Kengo, John Watch Smith, Jan Novotny, Matthew Dale, Christian Zimmermann, Witt, Diane Dahl, okay, Abdul Rahman. Very nice to have you all here with me. I'm looking on my screen. This is because I'm not looking into you in the camera right now, and I'm not impolite, but I have to look to my screen to read out those questions. So, the Owl 29 said, nice CNN interview. Yes, this is true. I was on CNN. I'm pretty on a frequently based. They're talking about the watch industry, and I tried to explain also to CNN Money what was going on. And yep, this is now, as we see some days later, there we are. So good evening from New York, Blue Shirt Bude, good evening, of course. So hello, Alexander, viele Grüße. They are sending a lot of greetings. That's so nice. Okay, so now Neo is asking the first question, and I want to read it out. Alexander, which brands have scheduled journalists to look at the new novelties? Can you say? Can you give dates? Of course not. I think it's much too early. I think when the announcement was made, I think some of the industry were pretty shocked. Not shocked in the sense because everybody expected that cancellation, but they had to adopt and they had to, let's say, digest what was happening. So until today, there are no specific extra dates being announced for any journalists or for any presentations. I think the brands are now brainstorming how to do this. But I can tell you that I was very busy since mid of January after the winter holidays, the winter season holidays, to schedule meetings for filming those novelties even before the shows, because I wanted to be sure to have enough time to bring you that best possible information to your screens. And I was scheduling a lot of meetings already before I didn't even know about Corona. I think I first time heard about it during January someday, and anyone wouldn't have taken that seriously because it was in China, far away from us. So, and I was already scheduling those meetings. So I will be end of March, beginning of April, and I will be traveling a lot in Switzerland to bring you those novelties as quick and as good as possible with wrist shots and everything you deserve to your screens. So nothing scheduled. Next question, Lucas asking me, will Baselworld survive until next year? Yes, they will survive. Baselworld, in my opinion, did the right thing. They postponed the show. They didn't even cancel it. They said they postponed it to January by fixing another problem they had. They had a slightly problem with the dates, as you all might remember. The Baselworld and the Watches and Wonders, former SIHH show, was scheduled to take place end of March, end of April, beginning of May. I couldn't even speak it out, so late it was. So it was scheduled to be very late, and a lot of retailers, a lot of journalists, a lot of professionals working with the industry were very disappointed because this is definitively too late and was too late. Just imagine if you are in May, only, let's say 1.5 months later, the industry starts to go on summer holidays. So who will then manufacture, produce, do? It was too late. So beginning of January, there was a very good idea from Baselworld coming from them. So they were fixing another problem they definitively had by announcing those shows too early, too late, too early. Now, and they did something very smart. They rescheduled Baselworld 2021 next year in the beginning of January, just after the week when always we saw the SIHH taking place in Geneva. So there was one specific week where there was always Geneva, full of journalists, full of retailers, full of watch people, watch guys, aficionados, friends, and so on. It was, and just afterwards, Basel set the date for Basel 2021, and I think this could have been a very smart idea for, as I told you, just fixing the problem with the dates that were too late. And by giving or playing back the ball now to Watches and Wonders, since Watches and Wonders did not yet announce a date for Watches and Wonders next year. They canceled it. They did not postpone it. They canceled it. And we are now all waiting for Watches and Wonders, the former SIHH, to show up with proper dates. And I assume, and I hope so, and I hope, really sincerely hope, that they're going to be so smart and so clever to bring Basel and the SIHH together, as it was end of April, beginning of May, in January, by announcing in a couple of days after they have been digesting that they have been informed by Baselworld only by a media release. What I heard is that there was no official communication in between the two shows. So they were informed by a media release. And now I think they are a little bit, maybe, yes, angry, might be, or I don't know how you may call it. I leave it up to you. But I hope that they are going to announce very quickly, without hesitation, that the show will take part just a week before Baselworld. And so everybody from the entire world only needs to fly into Switzerland once. And then we will be reunited first in Geneva. And then, of course, everybody can take a train, bus, whatever it will be offered, to go to Basel and to continue with Basel. That will be my guess, and I hope so very much that they will do this. So, yes, Lucas, Basel will survive. David B, how do you see, David B asks me, how do you see the 2020 new products rollout process changing in light of the cancellations? In light of the cancellation, especially in light of the coronavirus that is still there and very active and still not under control at all, depending on what will happen next and how quickly people will restart traveling, restart being back to business as usual, I think the rollout this year will be as they scheduled it to be with those late dates of Baselworld and Geneva in end of April and May. So I expect the first products to come to the markets maybe in June, July, and then with increasingly speed until end of the year. But I don't think they are going to push back unless we are going to see a pandemia, meaning that the entire world will be kept under, I don't know how you call that, kept under prison or kept by the coronavirus, and we will not be able to travel, and we will have an epidemic spread all over us or all around the world. So this could prevent us to travel, to go out and to enjoy life. This could probably lead to later deliveries, but if everything stays as is planned, I think first products will come out in July. So Riyadh, where is it? I hate this. I already told you last time when I was sitting here. Riyadh Razimi, hello from Zurich. We can't, the media is the reason why we can't go to the Baselworld this year. Alex, do you have the coronavirus? No, I don't have it. I drink Corona with great pleasure. I enjoy a Corona from time to time. I put a lime on it and I love it, but I don't have any coronavirus and I don't plan to get it, honestly. Then Greg Smith is asking me, how will the manufacturers release the new models since there will be no Baselworld? So this is a question I spoke about just some minutes ago. I think the releases will be done on the markets very locally, with the probably retailers also being involved by inviting clients to special events that they will do on local markets. This will be a guess. And the platforms that operate out of Munich, for instance, for Richemont, that platform is in charge for Germany, Austria, and for the CEE countries. So Central European Central Eastern European countries. Probably Munich will organize some bigger events somewhere in Germany where people fly in. I guess they will just spread up those duties around the world, as Swatch Group did already by pulling out of Baselworld. Then next question coming here from Mr. Lantrix. Will the major brands wait till 2021 Basel to release new models, or still release in April but online or via other forums? No, they will not wait. Of course not, because those products are already in the process of being manufactured and in the process of being in the latest or final decisions just before going to be manufactured. So no. Nothing will be postponed unless, and this is what I just said before, unless we are really focusing a absolutely incredible, horrible pandemia caused by the coronavirus, or the coronavirus that probably did it's only the coronavirus that in theory could stop the brands on launching any products. If not, if this will not happen, and I sincerely hope so, we will see those products coming out step by step this year and so on. So yes, then Blue Shirt Buddha asks me, Alexander, with Baselworld being postponed, how and when do you think Basel Rolex will announce the new models? This is a good question. If I were Rolex, I would do exactly the same what I would have done in Basel. The normal procedure in Basel is the following, that on the Wednesday, that's the day before the official opening, on Thursday, Wednesday is the press day, and always Wednesday exactly at noon, those famous windows in the booth of Rolex, the curtain goes up. And yes, curious people who are waiting there, like me, for instance, are then able to discover the novelties. And in the same moment, Rolex is putting those novelties online through the website, and I assume they will do the same. Maybe they will put the camera and put the camera in front of that window, or build up the same scene somewhere in the headquarters and have a camera that films the pulling up of that famous curtain, and we will discover those novelties that way. I don't know, but I would do something comparable or funny if I would be them, and I would keep the date because it's a good tradition. It's always Wednesday at noon, beginning of Baselworld. Okay. Yes, then watch collecting strategy sets, fantastic CNN interviews. Thank you very much, sir, for the compliment. Very appreciated. Then Parash Shakya, I hope I did pronounce that correctly. If not, please. Excuse me. Hey, Alexander, love your channel. Quick question. Since the major watch events have been cancelled, could we still expect a quiet release from watch brands such as Rolex, Lange, a few others? Of course. Probably you have been listening and me answering the question before. Of course, those releases will be done. There's no way or there's no reason not to. Especially when we think about the fact that these novelties or these new watches have been first designed, conceived, technically designed. They have been going through a prototyping. From prototyping, they have been launching the first series of they have been launching so-called pre-series, where you test if the manufacturing process is set up correctly. And most of the watches that are scheduled to go on the markets already in production. So there is no way, I think, of stopping them unless, and I do repeat myself, we will see a horrible and cruel pandemic caused by mutations or whatever I don't even can imagine, or none of us wants to imagine, of that coronavirus, and the world is really forced to stay home, and we are forced not to move, not to travel, and so on. But I don't hope so. Yes, I see Remy from Thailand. Good evening. No, good morning to Thailand. It's more good morning there. Then Christian Zimmermann-Witt, in spite of the recent events, how big influence will YouTube and role be for this year's release? And ultimately, I think it will be a big role because it's not that I am here just because of the coronavirus. Our plans at Watch Advisor was to build up and to start such a channel with the idea that we are being a trusted and well-known source where people can discover the novelties, discover watches, can see hands-on videos and so on. And we are trying to improve what we're doing by each video with my cameraman, with Jorge. And so I think the role will be bigger, of course, and I'm not sure if all the others are ready yet and if they can do it in the way we can do it. So I'm pretty confident, and I'm pretty positive that we are going to be able to bring you some really, really cool content to your screens, and I will be online with such online discussions or live chats, as you call it. And I hope then you will be able to ask the questions and so on. So I will do the best, at least to my side, to help the industry or to be there as a partner. Most of you know that I'm in this industry for 30 years now, almost 30 years, and I do know most of the people running those companies. I do know most of the engineers, technicians, the watchmakers. I have a lot of friends there, and it will be a big pleasure to cooperate with them and to bring you those novelties as close as I can to your screens, of course. BS says, not sure how I feel about it. I haven't attended any of them anyway. I just watch Advisor for updates on new watch releases. So this is really nice. I wish everybody would do the same, so we would have hundreds of thousand followers, but we're working on it. So, but I still recommend you to do one thing. We plan in the future, as soon we have been growing our community to a certain size, to do some special events during Watches and Wonders, and of course also during Baselworld. This would mean that I, Alexander Linz, would take you and guide you an entire day through and be with you one day long to show you the novelties. We will have special appointments with the companies where we will be able to do and have some touch and feels and get really inside information about the watches. We are planning this this year. Unfortunately, we can't do it, but it's on our to-do list. So I plan this the same to do with Watches and Wonders. Watches and Wonders is even more difficult because you need to get an invitation unless you are not able to enter the salon, the Salon de l'Haute Horlogerie, the former SIHH, now Watches and Wonders, because it's a private salon, by invitation only, but we're working on it. So in case you once are interested, you will be highly welcome to join the group. Brand then. My goodness, sometimes those words, we just read over them. I Like Watches says, brands will need to make a lot of units to send out to publications. I don't think they are going to send out any watches to publications. I think it will be the other way around. The publications will have to come to the watches. Raynor Mendoza, since Baselworld, Raynor Mendoza says, or writes, since Baselworld is postponed till January 2020, that conflict does that pose for Baselworld 2021. It seems like it will be very close in timeline. Yeah, you mean that what they are producing now, and then they only have a couple of months left until it is January. That's a good guess, yeah. But as I don't think that anyone has been waiting until end of April, beginning of May to present his novelties. I think most of those watches are already produced or being produced right now as we speak. So I don't think it will be a big problem, and mostly all the plannings are done 5 years ahead. So I think they already know what they want to present in 2021, and then we still have to wait how this year will get over and how many watches have been sold, in fact, and how big the interest of the public was. And then I think this will also be a very important decision how to continue with 2021. So then Monteagudo. Hello, Alexander. Greetings from Spain. My question is, do you think you will discover that many products of luxury companies are manufactured entirely in China because of the coronavirus? Oh my goodness, no. Your question would mean that due to the fact that in the moment they are not able to manufacture in China, we will have we will see some products not coming to the markets. No, of course not. I can promise you, and I can tell you that watches where you read the word Swiss made or made in Switzerland on the dial, or watches where you read the word made in Germany on the dial are definitively manufactured either in Germany or, if it's Swiss made, in Switzerland. There is a law protecting the wording Swiss made, and these watches are manufactured. If you have any doubts, you can always call me. I will bring you directly to the manufacturers if you wish. And you can then see how those watches are manufactured in Switzerland and so on. And if there are any luxury manufacturers nowhere from any business, whatever business they are, and if they are on a largely scale producing or letting Chinese companies produce their luxury goods, and then they are cheating and by writing made in France, made in Italy or something. And if the coronavirus was able to show this or bring this out, then I am very happy, because this should not be the case. And I think luxury products should be manufactured in Europe. They should be manufactured either in Switzerland and Germany. Watches and a lot of other goods should also be produced in Europe. So I'm pretty convinced. Hello from Montreal. Yes, good evening to Montreal. Ian Spa says they could have a television show, maybe pay-per-view, where they have only the manufacturers showing their novelties and interviews with the CEOs. What do you think? This is exactly what we are doing, so I don't think they need to do that themselves. I will jump in and do the job for them. Someone is asking, Sengo asks me, which brand do you like mostly? This was not a question relied to Baselworld or to the cancellation of Watches Wonders, but you asked the question, and I say one of my favorite brands is Omega. Matthew Dale says, give them all to Horoji House to review. Yeah, they will be reviewed, I think, in a couple of houses and couple of channels, as on Watch Advisor, of course. Igor Radvich wrote, now that the rows and rows and rows of coach buses howling Chinese tourists in front of Buchra and Gübelin in Lucerne have ceased, will these dealers start providing deep discounts on the watches? No, I don't think so, that they are going to do this, because this would ruin their business. And I don't think that either Buchra or someone else has any interest to ruin his proper business. And Buchra is let's say, so wealthy that I don't think they have a problem. Even if they weren't selling any watches for a longer period, they wouldn't go bankrupt at all. So I don't think, and I don't see any chances for you probably speculating out there to get some huge discounts. No, it won't happen. Then Yona Watch-Smith asked me, do you think this is an opportunity for integrated European manufacturers like Glasuit Original, H. Moser, to emphasize control where other may hit supply chain issues? If we're talking about the supply chain in Switzerland, I would say there is no interruption now. There's no interruption yet in Switzerland, because the coronavirus cases are only punctual. We have some cases being reported from the Swiss, and as long as those suppliers, and they're all in Switzerland, are working correctly and doing their jobs, I don't see any issues for the watch industry, since I just talked about Swiss made is Swiss made, and there are enough manufacturers in Switzerland And the chain, the chain is intact, so I don't see any problems there. So David B says or asks me, do these cancellations, SIHH on our Watches and Wonders and Baselworld operate time, the advantage or disadvantage of any particular brands and which? I don't think any brand will take any advantage out of the fact that these shows are cancelled. In honestly speaking, it's a big mess because you are discontinuing the normal chains that were always there, or the normal procedures where people would come from the entire world to the shows, making their orders. Journalists, retailers, invited guests, special guests, and of course in Baselworld, the greater public would come and take a look at the watches. So this would not really help. This has not really helped, and I don't think anyone can take any advantage out of this. Maybe someone who wasn't ready, but yeah, who cares? John Watchsmith says to me, no, this I already answered this. Andreas Georgiou said, does this mean that Psycho will come back to Baselworld 2021? Honestly, I hope so. I hope that some of the mistakes that were done and have occurred to the management of Baselworld until then will be solved, and I sincerely hope that Psycho will come to Baselworld and that they will be finally hosted also on the ground floor, where they are, in my honest opinion, deserving to be also on the ground floor. So then Greg Couture is writing, so will individual manufacturers be presenting their new pieces on their own? Yes, for sure. I'm absolutely sure that they are going to do this. The groups like Richemont, like Swatch Group, like LVMH, Kering, they will probably reunite their brands and do some presentations on larger scales, but the other brands probably will do it one by one. Yes. So Michael Freeland, Greg, yeah, you're asking the same, so I just answered the question. Then the next question here is Omega from Matthew Dale. Omega to release coronavirus Speedy Tuesday Limited in association with Hodinkee. What a joke. And in case they're doing it, as stupid as this idea is, I would assume that Hodinkee will find enough people with that sense of humor buying that particular one Speedmaster with probably the Corona logo on the dial, but I don't think Omega will do that. But let's be honest, if you would do that, even if it's a very cynical remark, and also it's a funny remark. Even if it's very cynical, I think you are able to find people who buy that watch. If it's a very limited edition, 10, 15 pieces, you sell them. Well, Sebastian Wien SRL. I just want to buy a sports Rolex. Is this too much? I'm asking from life. Sebastian, maybe you are luckier than ever by those developments we are just going through in the last weeks. With the coronavirus, that some watches might be available earlier than you thought. So I would be very active if I were you, and try with all the possible retailers you know and you can go to, and maybe you are luckier than you thought by getting your watch earlier. You never know. This is something I'm not answering today. The watch game about Hublot. I told you we're talking about Watches and Wonders, and neither I'm going to answer any questions which one is the best or not. So let's see to which question I'm going, because I'm really ignoring today these questions about where you're asking me which watch, which of the watches you're writing is better compared to the other one. I'm just leaving this out today. I want to really limit the questions on what is happening there and what you want to know. Is the COVID virus, Abdul Rahman is writing, is the COVID virus, is the black swan effect that will create a global slowdown resulting in recession and brands going out of business, especially micro brands? Abdul, yes, this could happen, of course, because some of those companies, of course, are not as financially as strong as they should be in the moment, resulting also to the fact that they are a micro brand, that they have probably been doing recently some bigger investments, or they are simply running out of money for other reasons, marketing, communication reasons, whatsoever. And if such a crisis as we are going through now, and they are probably going to increase in the next weeks or months, maybe we are also going into a worldwide recession. So if this will happen, I'm pretty sure that some of the micro brands, smaller brands, or brands that are already had some tough times financial wise, or in terms of products, in terms of not having the right products in the market, not having the right clients, the right retailers, etc., those brands might, yes, get some real problems. And the big ones, I don't see any problem, because there's a lot of power behind in terms of financial power. There's a lot of distribution power behind, etc., etc. So I don't see problem. But smaller ones, yes, they could. Yes. Stan, so Shah Lusso, I hope I did pronounce this correctly. Shah Lusso says, all right, hi Alex, great to see another live show. Do you think that these show cancellations will lead to more brands leaving Basel and doing their own events in the long term? This is a very good question. And I think this is one of the essential questions today, and thank you for asking it. Since many brands, or a lot of those brands that now have to be, or have to find a way out of the situation that there is no Watches and Wonders and there is no Baselworld, and they have to be creative in the terms of how can we as a brand come closer to the customer, present our products to the customer, to the press, to our retailers. Maybe some of those brands discover that they can do it also without one of those big shows. And when they continue to do some deeper research, and they find out how much money they have been saving, and that these big shows probably are already have seen the better days, in the sense of that these big shows are a little bit outdated already in terms of representing in that style an industry with all the luxury, etc. they are having there. It could lead to the fact that some brands say, okay, we don't need any longer such a huge show, and they could step out and say, okay, we are quitting. But on the other hand side, and this is something what I also said in my CNN interview a couple of days ago, I personally think that the Swiss, or the watch industry, needs once a year one major event. And as I am talking about the one major event, this could be interesting for you how I'm saying this, because I personally think the SIHH and Baselworld should reunite to one place, to one show again. This would be what this would be it what I want to see, and that there is one major event, maybe in terms of big stands, big booths. Those booths need to get smaller. Everybody needs to be there on one big event, so people can discover the entire world of watchmaking on one place. And I think the industry needs one major event to represent that what they are able to do, that what they are able to manufacture, to create the creativity towards the world. So I'm very convinced, and I'm very positive about having one show, one big event once a year by year, having new ideas, being very open to the public, being very modern, bringing in new ways of communication, of shows, of discussions, podiums, of other ideas, how to present watches to people who are interested in watches, and to sell them in the same way, and also to be able to present them to the press. I would very much like to see such a show. And yeah, let's hope that all these developments lead to more cooperation of the two big blocks, SIHH or Watches and Wonders versus Baselworld, and that many of the companies that left meanwhile come back, and there's one major event where all the industry meets and sets up the flag and says, this is what we are able to do, and this is, look, the world, look now, this is what we are able to do. It would lead to a lot of reporting. It will lead to a lot of mentioning in medias, live coverages, and so on. So the effect would be immense if they would reunite and think about having one intelligent, modern, dynamic show per year. So, okay. Yes, then dear artifact. Is it you believe brands will look to release heavy hitters to compensate for the lack of shows, or do you think they will save their big releases until next year when shows return? I don't think any brand will do this, because what would be the purpose of bringing any special models this year to let's say to stimulate us buyers to buy them now, because we are in that crisis. I'm not sure if this makes sense for me, and why holding them back? This makes also no sense. I don't think they are going to change their way of distributing and presenting their watches, and I don't think that they are going to really rethink their entire distribution channels, processes, and the way how they are bringing those watches to the markets. It was always the case, and it is not new that the industry started really a couple of years ago to hold back some of the novelties during the big shows in beginning of the year, and to only present them in the second half of the year. Why? Since it makes more sense if you present all you have, then you have nothing left, and until end of the year, assuming that the shows are beginning of the year as they always were, when you are presenting your products, and if you are presenting everything already there, then you will have probably nothing left, and then things that have been covered by the medias and being presented to the public probably have been already forgotten until end of the year. So it was already in their strategy the last years to make several releases, big releases during the year, and of course, end of the year, most of the brands have been launching some very spectacular watches, also due to the fact that people are stimulated to buy them during Christmas season, or before Christmas season, of course. So I don't think that your idea about launching heavy hitters, as you named them, to compensate, I don't think they're going to do that. Parashakia again. Because of the coronavirus, Chinese people who are considered major buyers are pretty much shut out. Do you see the fall of bubble watches in the gray market or the hype of watches overall? This is a good question, and honestly speaking, if the entire Corona situation with the virus and what we are going through now helps to destroy that silly, stupid bubble. I repeat, silly and stupid bubble created by people who are really only speculating with watches and not selling them. And if it helps to destroy the bubble, I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy. And if it is going to destroy the hype of watches, I don't think so. Especially because it is so much part of what we love and part of what we are in love with and part what we want to see and what we want to spend money for. That's part of what we are saving money for. So I personally don't think the hype will stop. In contrary, this will probably even create more desire, and as soon, and many of the major players these days are very much working on stopping the gray market, stopping the bubble, because they have recognized that this is really what destroys their proper business. It is absolutely, I don't get the point why one should pay the double price for a Rolex watch that is has a list price of, let's say, 9,000 euros, and you are not getting a watch under or less for less than 20,000. I don't get the point here. And I hope that all these brands and all those brands that are hit by the problem are doing something against it, are stopping this bullshitting of you, the clients, me, the buyer, you out there. And this is absolutely something I can't see, and I really get angry when people come to me and call me, and they often do, and say, Alexander, I'm looking for this and that watch, and I'm so frustrated I can't buy the watch only for the double of the price. What's wrong here? And then I have to explain them that all these people are just speculating with the watches. They buy them, and many of the buyers of a Rolex watch are not buyers; they are just resellers, opportunistic resellers. And honestly speaking, if you are watching, one of you is watching, hit this, just shut down your channel, go away. I don't want to see you here. Yes, the entire world. So then, next question. 1,000 subs, man, please. The entire world business and industry is being affected by coronavirus. Yes, very true and very sadly. If we quickly go there, this probably could and maybe could help us all to rethink about strategies international companies have about using China as their cheap production facilities. Maybe Europe, maybe the United States should rethink their way of manufacturing a lot of goods, and so we get out of being get out of the fact that we're so much depending on the Chinese market and the Chinese manufacturing power. I think this should be or should help us all here, all intelligent people, to rethink the situation, and maybe it is worth some days in the future to pay a little bit more and to get goods that are produced either in Europe or in the United States or in South America or somewhere else, just spread all over the world and not only so much focused and concentrated in China. And I think you agree with me, all those who have brains, that it would be a nice guess that we now could think about rethinking the way many of the goods are manufactured in this world. So wait, I have to scroll back. Yes, so next question. Good evening from Budapest. Good evening to Budapest, my friend. And Michael Freeland, RG Luxury said something about Omega making bracelets in China. Come on, game away. I don't answer this question, and this is absolutely something I don't even want to discuss, because when it comes to RG Luxury, okay. Hashtag John Watches Smith, talk of Geneva, watch this event. Okay, I don't get the point here. I don't get the point what this question was. Maybe you can rewrite the question again. Talk of Geneva Watch Days event. Oops, I don't get the question. Sorry. DK watches are made in Switzerland. However, a lot of boxes and outer packaging are made in China and Taiwan. Unfortunately, they are. That's true. And end of the day, who cares if you buy a watch without the box or with, let's say, a nice, simply a box or a nice sleeve where you just whatever. It could be something much simpler that can be manufactured easily in Europe, or could be manufactured in Switzerland. You don't need a pouch, for instance, or something even smarter and more useful than one of those big boxes you get when you buy off those watches. I hate them because I don't know even where to store them. Yes, then Joseph Knecht, Alexander, I recently read your November 1st, 2012 article in Watch Insider on Roger Dubuis, one of my favorite brands. Great article, thank you. Oh, that's good. You're still on Watch Insider. This was my little adventure I had with the Ibner Group. Yes, then Andres Felipe Gomez, how do you think brands will release the novelties this year? I already answered this question a couple of times today. Social media, yes. Smaller micro events, yes. And of course, through our channel or other channels that are doing the same as we do, and probably by inviting VIP clients, etc., to the manufacturers directly in Switzerland. Then DK asking me, do you think Rolex and Patek will release new pieces in April, May, or will they wait for Basel January 2021? No, I just said this before. Of course not. I don't think that any of the brands, of the big brands, will postpone their releases until January 2021. These watches, as I said before, have been designed, have been prototyped, have been pre-series have been made, and the production is on the way. So no, they're not stopping it. These watches are going to come out during the year as scheduled, depending, of course, on how the coronavirus is spreading over the world, and if we will see a pandemia or not. Pandemia. Okay. Michael Amato says, what do you think of the bronze Panerai? Oh no, not these questions today, please. Then Michael Freeland, no, not this question today. Not of these questions. Not about losing wings and George Khan. Sorry, guys, I'm not answering these questions today. Definitively not. We're going to have a Ask Me Anything, and then I will go really into all of your questions. But today I really want to focus on Baselworld, cancellations, and so on. Matthew Dale writes, do you think with Baselworld and Watches and Wonders being cancelled, it might finally get the Swiss brands to finally get into the 21st century regarding social media and websites? Yeah, this could help. This could probably really help. And I think the Swiss watch industry and the watch industry in general is going through the same process as the car makers these days, since the Geneva Auto Show or the Salon de l'Automobile in Geneva has been cancelled, as well as the Watches and Wonders in Geneva and Baselworld in Basel. I think they have to rethink and get more digital and be more creative, and probably also have more trust in what we are doing and what we are doing very successfully, as you all know. I very often, when I come to companies and explain what I do and how successful we are, and when I show those figures from Google or YouTube analytics to the brands, I often have to recognize they don't know exactly what we're doing and who are our viewers, where they are they looking through those videos, for which devices they're looking these videos, are they really there, and so on. And I sincerely hope, yes, that this will wake up some of them. Yeah, could help very much. Then Akif asked me, hello Alexander, greetings from Dubai. No question, just conveying you my best thanks for all the efforts in supporting our community. Stay safe. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much. Stay safe yourself. I was recently in Dubai attending the Dubai Watch show from LVMH, and I very much liked your city, and I'm planning to come back very soon. As soon as we are all again safe to travel and so on. But I very much enjoyed Dubai, so thank you very much for writing me this. Akif, then this is so right. So I have to scroll back. Once you touch so I'm losing. That happened to me all the time when I'm touching my mouse, scrolling. All of a sudden, the lines where I was are disappearing. So excuse me, guys. I just have to find back myself. Here we come. Okay. So there we are. Anthony Napoli. Anthony Napoli. Is this really your name? Anthony. With all the wristwatch I don't get the point here. I just touched my mouse again and it just jumped away from my face. This is really not nice. YouTube, please. Okay. Now I will not touch my mouse again. Anthony Napoli says, will all the wristwatch influencers on YouTube and Instagram, and the industry doesn't need it, the industry could do it all online now and get amazing coverage. Do you think that all these YouTubers, Instagrammers, and so on should no longer communicate about watches, and the brands should do it by themselves? This could be a guess, but I still would stay their competitor, and I would not resign, because I think that we out there, with our experience and with what we are doing, do have also the right of being there. And yes, let those brands do their own shows. Let those brands start doing their own presentations, and then end of the day, let us see who is doing it better and who has more viewers. I am not afraid of competition, so if this is something they're planning to do, I'm more than happy that they're doing it, because it will only attract more interest on digital medias, and this will also help us to grow our channel, so I'm not afraid at all. BS, yes, I said it. Stupid bubble, yes. I couldn't agree more. It's a stupid bubble. Come on. Yes. Android 16 says it's because of those people who don't know anything about watches, the global wannabe people, most of them rappers. Yeah, can be, of course. Many people buy watches as a status symbol. They need to have a certain watch on the wrist to be someone, and mostly of them, they are probably willing to pay those stupid prices. Then next question. So Alexander, can we help to find out what you really, really want? No, not today. Not today. Yep, greetings from Houston, Texas. Love your content. Currently watching from a university lecture. And you shouldn't do this. But it's good to have you here anyhow. And I'm happy to have you. So Alexander Seidel is also there. Hi, Alexander. Good evening, my friend. Any questions you have? Maybe, Alexander, let me know. Stefan Hofbauer, enjoy your channel. Too bad Baselworld is cancelled due to Swiss paranoia. What is, in your opinion, the best web appearance of any watch brand? Greetings and all the best. In the meantime, a lot of brands have improved their web appearance, and the most thing I like on web appearances of the brands is that finally you get the prices. Because formerly we all were, it was that those prices were kept like the codes. Someone needs to activate a nuclear power, a nuclear missile or something. I don't know. They were so secret. Not even the MI6 or MI5 or Mossad or NSA could know them. So this is the biggest advantage, that we now finally have the prices online, that we get some more technical information, that people can have some three-dimensional views. Some of the brands are really very actively also showing those watches. You can rotate them, you can look from different angles on them, and all this is so positive, and all this is just catching up to reality, because you all know, because you are digital, like I am digital, that many of those brands are still very much, they need to catch up quickly to be in the reality where we are today. And yes, I hope that this will help a little bit. So, okay. Scoopina11 says, did already any major brand announce their own show for the new watch presentation? No, you all know that the Swatch Group had since last year, because they didn't attend Baselworld any longer. They had their own event called Time to Move. And Time to Move was scheduled to start in the next days, this week, to be precise, and was cancelled almost 3 or 4 weeks ago by the president of the Swatch Group, Madame Hayek, and I think she did the right decision, cancelling this in early days, so everybody could cancel flights, hotel reservations, and so on, and no costs were produced, stupid costs. And it's a pity. I would have had the opportunity to film in one day, because they scheduled for me, Swatch Group was very nice, they scheduled for me an entire day where I would have arrived the day before, and then next day from the morning until the evening with my cameraman Jorge, we would have had the chance to film all the novelties in one day, and some days later you would have had them on your screens. Unfortunately, this was cancelled, and I'm looking and I'm working hard to get some alternatives to be able to film. So so Matthew Dale, thanks for answering my question. Even they have not been so they have not been so serious ones. Keep healthy, my friend. I will try to keep healthy as I can. And I'm always open for jokes, so don't worry about that. Why is the Geneva seal such a big deal? This will be an entire discussion. We can have another day. Now here comes a question there from Rice. Rice, how can you pronounce that? Rice Kagelore. I'm sorry about that. There seems as if there is going to be this Geneva Watch Days 2020. So some sort of gathering seems to be happening still. Oh, I've not heard about that. If this is the case, okay, they can do that. It's privately organized. If it is not any event that is hosting more than 1,000 people, Swiss government has announced some days ago that all events that are hosting more than 1,000 people have to be cancelled. So if those Geneva Watch Days in small groups, why not? I don't know. I don't see the people coming, but if they are going to do it, why not? Yes, Dubre. So Calibre 3135 asks me, what do brands need to do to stimulate demand in lieu of Baselworld's postponement? Take care of the coronavirus, Alexander. I will. What are brands? You asking me what brands need to do to stimulate the business, and I'm giving you a very clear answer. If the watches are cool, if the design is good, if the history of the brand is something you want to discover, if it is an interesting history, if the quality is good, if the technology is modern, if every of these parameters I've just been talking about are there, if all these parameters are there, those watches are attractive. They don't need to stimulate anything. The big problem now will be with those brands or those manufacturers who offer nothing but nothing. Brands that are playing around with designs that are not their designs, brands that are playing around with things that are not being invented by them, that are trying to copy those big brands, brands that have no proper own case production, dial production, production of hands, movement production, that are only buying from the supply chain in Switzerland and filling or fitting in some cheap movements coming from, let's say, e.g. Celita in Switzerland, and then selling those watches for horrible prices, or prices that are absolutely not in line with the quality, not in line with the standing of the brand, not in line with everything else. These brands will get and tumble into some big problems, I assume, because why should one continue to buy such a watch? And I always tell you, and I always try to show in my videos, please, and this is something I say again now, not because I am paid or not because as there is Mr. Hayek standing behind me with a gun and telling me to say this, Alexander, you're saying this, it's because I'm convinced. If you are in the lower entry price segment, compare any brand with Swatch Group brands. And if you think that the brand you're comparing with a Swatch Group brand is better, then you buy it. But before, compare. And I promise you, when you compare brands in the entry and the lower price segment with Swatch Group brands, you are no longer buying the brand you are comparing to Swatch Group brands. I'm not forced to say that, believe me, guys. I'm saying it because I'm convinced. And yeah. So, then Alexander Seidel says, I seriously hope that Basel and Geneva fairs take the chance and move together again beginning of the year, as the watch industry needs one platform and one presentation for the novelties. Yes, Alexander, I just said in the very beginning of my live chat today, this is what I'm hoping to very much, because this is would be the most smart move they can do now after what they're going through. Baselworld already decided smartly and cleverly enough to remove from that silly, let's say, crazy date, end of April, beginning of May to January. And I'm now waiting for Watches and Wonders, the SIHH. I'm waiting for them to react quickly. I'm waiting for Fabien Lupo, who is head of the SIHH. That's the organization that is organizing Watches and Wonders, and I'm waiting for Fabien Lupo to announce that they are coming back to January, and they are just setting up their Watches and Wonders just a week before Baselworld. So the entire world, as you're saying it, Alexander, comes together and meets in Switzerland in January. First we are in Geneva, and then we all move to Basel and have then we enjoy what happens in Basel, and then everybody can go home, and people are only traveling once, and the entire industry comes together again. Okay, good. But the best, even the best for me, and I said this also before, would be that they reunite on one place. But I don't think it will happen. It's just a wishful thinking that SIHH, or now Watches and Wonders, and Baselworld reunite on one place, and then there is one huge watch show. I don't think it will happen, but yeah, we can stay positive. Then Jim S says, still planning to buy a few watches this year, and hope, or we all will. Yes, I hope that you are continuing to buy watches. Tudor up next. The brands depend on us as much as we to them. That's correct. I hope that we are able to deliver some more interesting stuff to you, and that you keep your enthusiasm alive about the watches, and you are not going to wear any digital smart watches on your wrists. I agree if you, or I allow you guys out there to wear a Apple Watch or any other smartwatch, Suunto or anything to do your outdoor work or sport activities. But as soon as you come home, take it off and put on a really old-fashioned mechanical wristwatch. It's so fun to have and so anachronistic. You need to have it. I had to say this. Okay. Yep. Then I just scroll quickly through those questions, because I told you I will not answer any questions about you are asking me about if this or this brand is better or so on. If I know, I will not do this today, because I really want to keep the focus on Then Igor Radvich says, could the coronavirus affect the Rolex watch manufacturing if Switzerland's confirmed cases increase like Italy? Brands, I have been on the phone with different brands recently, and they are rolling out their own plans, hygienic. They are reacting in a very smart way. And I think if we are tumbling into a situation as we are having it in Italy right now, in the northern part of Switzerland, in the northern part of Italy, sorry, I think it won't happen in Switzerland, first of all, and neither in Austria or in Germany. And I think brands, the manufacturers, will smartly react by isolating or by sending those people home for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and by having others retaking their work, and they will replan their processes by having people doing the work of others, so they can continuously keep up the production. I don't think it will harm them very much. It is just a rethinking of how things are done. Anyhow, in those big manufacturing plants, people are not single. How you say that in English? They're not single post working. They are trained to work on different parts in the manufacturing. So they are also changing quite often the workspace where they are. So if someone is setting together something, he's setting together something different the next day. If he's producing something on a machine, he's doing it on another machine. So people are not I don't know, I can't say this in English. They are polyvalent, so they are able to change and hop around a little bit. Maybe someone can help me by posting what I wanted to say. Let me get. We are. I think we slightly come to an end here. Yes. Let me just see if there are more questions. Hi all. Then what is this question? Bill Jakub. I think the average watch guy, the Physicians Baselworld event is irrelevant. Okay. He says, I think for the average watch guy, Baselworld is irrelevant, since the people are more interested in seeing the announcement of new watches, features, pricing, etc. That's pretty true. Yes, a lot of people don't care about those shows, and people go through our channel or go through Instagram and other social media platforms to discover the watches. And mostly, of course, majority will only learn by coincidence or learn by going to a retailer or going to a website that there is a new watch. Of course, the inner circle or the community of watch aficionados is quite small compared to the rest of all those buying watches, but this is the same and this is the same with all other industries. It's the same with cars. It's the same with all other luxury goods, with fountain pens, whatever you want to mention here. It will always be just an inner circle or aficionados or freaks or people loving watches like I do and you out there that will probably get to a watch show and come there and discover the watches there. But most of them will probably don't care. So they will be those who will discover those new novelties later. So I will also take the opportunity here from Junior Johnson. He says, thank you, Alexander. Stay healthy. And Bill Jakob said, that said, hope everyone stays safe. I want to say the same here. I want to say goodbye now from Vienna. I always invite you to use the comment section of our videos. There are a couple of videos in the pipeline. The next video that will go online is a video about the Swatch special editions they did for James Bond this year. I was just filming them during the weekend. So this will be the next video. Use the comment section, please, to ask me. Please be also more active on our community section. If you go to your browser, it's on top, says community. If you're on your iPhone, it says community or your smartphone. Unfortunately, that community section doesn't work on the iPads. I don't know why, but use the community section to interact with me or interact with others. I will always post some new stuff there too. So let's stay busy. Let's stick together and keep the flag of watchmaking up. Yeah. And let's all of us drink Coronas instead of getting Corona. Yes, just to be sure, drinking of alcohol may damage or may endanger your health. So do this only in small amounts. That said, I will now go down to my fridge, open up a nice Corona, make a slice of lime, pulling it into the bottle and enjoy the rest of the evening. So thank you very much, everybody. First of all, please stay healthy and be very active on our channel. This is what I'm asking you, and tell everybody that there is Watch Advisor on YouTube. And see you soon very much. See you soon. Thank you very much to you all. And the most important thing is stay healthy and be back soon here on Watch Advisor on YouTube. Bye-bye. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone.